Philadelphia news, team of my heart. Dive into the thrilling behind-the-scenes story of how the Philadelphia 76ers secured nine-time All-Star Paul George in a dramatic free agency showdown. Learn about the intense negotiations, strategic sacrifices, and the pivotal meeting that brought George to Philly. Discover why this move could be the game-changer for the Sixers' championship dreams. Don't miss out on this exclusive look into the Sixers' bold new era. Watch now to uncover the secrets behind Paul George joining the Sixers, the key players involved, and what this means for the future of Philadelphia basketball. Make sure to subscribe for more exclusive Sixers content. Inside the Paul George free agency showdown, how the Sixers landed the nine-time All-Star. Have you ever wondered what it takes to land a game-changing player like Paul George? Picture this: the clock is ticking, tension is high, and every decision could reshape the future of the Philadelphia 76ers. This isn't just another free agency story, this is the ultimate showdown, where everything is on the line. In 2019, the NBA made a smart move, shifting the free agency negotiating period to a more civilized 6 p.m. Eastern Time on June 30th, instead of the exhausting midnight start on July 1st. But even the best-laid plans can be thrown off by something as unpredictable as weather. And that's exactly what happened to Sixers owner Josh Harris and franchise legend Julius Erving, who found themselves stuck in a 2-hour delay en route to the most crucial free agent meeting of 2024. The Sixers had meticulously planned for this summer, protecting their salary cap space with the goal of landing a third star to join 2023 MVP Joel Embiid and the newly ascended All-Star Tyrese Maxey. They endured a rocky 3-month standoff with James Harden and bypassed tempting trade opportunities, all to preserve a max cap slot for this moment. The stakes couldn't have been higher. Think about it, the window to win with a superstar like Embiid, now entering his prime at 30 years old, isn't open forever. This summer, the Sixers had a golden opportunity to build a championship roster. The target? None other than Paul George, the LA Clippers star who had been Philadelphia's top priority. For weeks, the Sixers braced themselves against rumors that the New York Knicks and Golden State Warriors were eyeing George. They watched closely as the Clippers navigated extension talks with George, uncertain if he would stay put or become a free agent. And then, on a crucial Sunday evening, George invited the Sixers brass to his house in West Los Angeles. The meeting, set for 8:30 p.m., was delayed as Harris and Dr. J's plane battled weather conditions. George's agent called to ask if he wanted to wait. Of course, George replied. And why wouldn't he? This was a meeting years in the making, a chance to join forces with Embiid and potentially lead the Sixers to glory. When the Sixers finally arrived at George's house around 10:30 p.m., they were greeted by George himself, wearing an Allen Iverson t-shirt, a promising sign of his interest in Philadelphia. From that moment on, the conversation shifted to what could be, rather than what had been. The Sixers painted a vision of a future where George, Embiid, and Maxey formed a formidable trio, poised to bring a championship back to Philadelphia. So, are you ready to dive deeper into this thrilling saga? Do you want to hear more about how the Sixers maneuvered through every twist and turn to secure Paul George? The Sixers first whispered Paul George's name as a potential fit alongside Embiid and Maxey almost a year before that pivotal meeting. It was right after Harden had publicly declared he'd never play for the 76ers again. At that moment, Clippers president of basketball operations Lawrence Frank reached out to Daryl Morey to discuss a deal. Morey's response? He wanted George. Initially, this was a non-starter for the Clippers. They were also under immense pressure to win with Leonard and George, who had both joined the team in 2019 amid much fanfare. Unfortunately, each season had brought new setbacks: the 2020 bubble, Leonard's ACL tear in 2021, George's elbow injury in 2022, and another knee injury in 2023. Both stars could become free agents after the 2024 season, so the Clippers were desperate to upgrade the roster and contend for a title. Despite Harden's polarizing reputation, the Clippers saw potential. They believed coach Tyronn Lue could harness Harden's talents, just as he had with another controversial star, Russell Westbrook. But the biggest concern wasn't just talent, it was the looming threat of the second apron in the league's new collective bargaining agreement. The restrictions for teams exceeding this threshold were severe, making trades nearly impossible and limiting financial flexibility. For a team with 3 aging superstars, the risks were too high. At first, it seemed like the Clippers' gamble on Harden might pay off. After a rocky start, Harden adapted, and the team went on an impressive 16-3 run over the holidays. Leonard was healthy and dominant, earning a 3-year, $150 million extension. However, Leonard's contract fell short of the maximum he could have received, putting pressure on George to accept less in his negotiations. Leonard and George had always talked about extending their partnership, but the specifics were never clear. When the Clippers offered George a less lucrative deal than Leonard's, George felt disappointed. Negotiations stalled as both sides waited for the other to cave. George was confident other teams would offer him better deals, while the Clippers hoped his ties to home would keep him in LA. Meanwhile, up in Golden State, the Warriors were eyeing George as well. Failing to make the playoffs and facing their own second apron issues, they needed a star like George to rejuvenate their roster. They engaged in intense trade discussions with the Clippers, offering various combinations of expiring contracts, young talent, and an unprotected 2027 first-round pick. The Clippers, however, demanded Jonathan Kuminga, a key piece of the Warriors' future, which led to a deadlock in negotiations. Throughout this process, both teams grappled with the implications of the new CBA. The Clippers and Warriors had spent a staggering $947 million in luxury tax penalties over 4 years, and neither wanted to exceed the tax this season. 5 years ago, just a short drive from George's home in Los Angeles, he and Leonard had plotted their partnership at Drake's house. They kept their plans secret long enough for the Thunder and Clippers to negotiate a massive deal that made them instant contenders. But despite their best efforts, things didn't go as planned. Injuries and other setbacks marred each season, preventing them from realizing their championship dreams. For the Sixers, the stakes were equally high. Each previous attempt to pair Embiid with a suitable co-star had ended in disappointment, from Butler to Horford to Harden. Now, it was George's turn to take on the challenge of helping the Sixers and Embiid achieve greatness. And it was the Sixers' chance to support George in his quest for a title, something he hadn't achieved in Indiana, Oklahoma City, or LA. In Philadelphia, the phrase, "trust the process," had become a mantra, one that Embiid embraced wholeheartedly. But as they met with George, they conveyed a different message. They believed in him and what he could bring to the team. Dr. J shared his own experiences of playing in Philly and how pivotal it was when the team traded for Moses Malone, leading to their 1983 championship. Would you like to continue and see how the rest of this meeting unfolded and how it led to George's decision? The stage was set. The Sixers brass, including Dr. J, Harris, Morey, Brand, and Dinwiddie, all assembled at George's Los Angeles home. They had a clear mission: to convince Paul George that Philadelphia was the perfect place for him to continue his career and achieve the championship success that had eluded him. George's longtime agent, Aaron Mintz, was also present, ensuring every detail was meticulously covered. The room buzzed with a mix of anticipation and excitement. This was more than just a pitch, it was a carefully crafted vision of a brighter future, both for George and the Sixers. Harris opened the meeting by acknowledging the tumultuous path the team had taken to reach this moment. He emphasized the sacrifices made to preserve cap space, the challenges endured during the Harden standoff, and the calculated risks taken to maintain flexibility. Harris painted a picture of a franchise ready to make a serious championship push, one that valued George's unique skill set and veteran leadership. Morey then took over, diving into the basketball specifics. He outlined how George's versatility, scoring ability, and defensive prowess would seamlessly integrate with Embiid's dominance in the paint and Maxey's explosive playmaking. Morey presented detailed analytics and video highlights showcasing how George could thrive in coach Nick Nurse's system. He also emphasized the team's commitment to player health and rest, aiming to keep George at peak performance throughout the grueling NBA season. George listened intently, nodding as Morey spoke. The Sixers' approach was methodical, addressing both the emotional and strategic aspects of the pitch. They wanted George to feel valued, respected, and, most importantly, integral to their championship aspirations. Then it was Dr. J's turn. With his iconic presence and deep connection to the franchise, he shared personal stories of his time in Philadelphia. He spoke of the camaraderie, the passionate fan base, and the unyielding support the city offers its stars. He recalled the pivotal trade for Moses Malone that transformed the Sixers into champions in 1983, drawing parallels to what acquiring George could mean for the current squad. Dr. J's message was clear: Philadelphia was a city where legends were made, and George had the opportunity to etch his name alongside the greats. George, wearing his Allen Iverson t-shirt, seemed moved by Dr. J's words. There was a sense of destiny in the air, a feeling that perhaps this was the right move at the right time. But George, ever the professional, had questions. He inquired about the team's long-term vision, player development plans, and how they intended to navigate the complexities of the new CBA while remaining competitive. Dinwiddie and Brand addressed these concerns with clarity and confidence. They highlighted the team's commitment to building a sustainable contender around George, Embiid, and Maxey. They detailed their scouting efforts, draft strategies, and plans to leverage the Sixers' resources to ensure continuous improvement and depth. The goal was not just to win now but to create a lasting legacy. As the meeting progressed, the conversation shifted to George's personal aspirations. He spoke candidly about his desire to win a championship, to be part of a cohesive unit that played for each other and for the city. He reflected on the disappointments and injuries that had marred his previous stops and expressed his longing for a fresh start where he could truly make an impact. The Sixers listened attentively, reaffirming their belief in his potential to lead them to glory. They acknowledged his past struggles but framed them as experiences that had only made him stronger and more determined. They assured him that in Philadelphia, he would have the support and resources needed to reach his full potential. As the night wore on, the atmosphere grew more relaxed. The initial tension gave way to a sense of camaraderie and shared purpose. The Sixers had laid out their vision convincingly, and George had seen their genuine belief in what they could achieve together. So, what happens next? How did George respond to this meticulously crafted pitch, and what final steps were taken to bring him to Philadelphia? The room settled into a contemplative silence. Paul George took a moment to absorb everything that had been shared. The Sixers' pitch was compelling, thorough, and heartfelt. The mix of strategic planning and emotional resonance had clearly struck a chord with him. But this decision wasn't just about the numbers or the analysis, it was about a feeling, a gut instinct about where he belonged and what his future could hold. George finally broke the silence, expressing his appreciation for the Sixers' dedication and vision. He spoke about the profound impact of Dr. J's words and the allure of playing in a city that cherished its basketball legends. He acknowledged the team's sacrifices and strategic moves to make this opportunity possible. He also highlighted the appeal of joining forces with Embiid and Maxey, two players he respected immensely. The discussion shifted towards practicalities. Contracts, terms, and immediate next steps were on the table. George's agent, Aaron Mintz, and the Sixers management delved into the finer details, ensuring that both parties were aligned on every aspect of the potential agreement. The commitment from both sides was palpable. This wasn't just a business transaction, it was the beginning of a new chapter. As the meeting wrapped up, there was a tangible sense of excitement and anticipation in the air. George had yet to give his final word, but the Sixers felt confident that their pitch had resonated deeply with him. They knew that George saw the potential for greatness in Philadelphia, the chance to create something special and lasting. And so, the moment of truth arrived. George stood up, looked around the room, and with a smile, he said, "Let's do it." The room erupted in applause and cheers, the culmination of months of planning, negotiating, and hoping. Paul George was coming to Philadelphia, and the Sixers' quest for a championship had gained a powerful new ally. This moment marked the beginning of a thrilling new era for the Sixers. With George on board, the team was poised to make a serious run at the championship. The combination of Embiid's dominance, Maxey's rising stardom, and George's seasoned excellence promised an exciting future for Philadelphia basketball. To all the Philadelphia 76ers fans out there, this is your time. The journey to bring Paul George to our city has been nothing short of extraordinary, filled with strategic brilliance and heartfelt determination. This move signifies a bold step towards reclaiming championship glory and creating a legacy that will be remembered for years to come. If you're as excited about this new chapter as we are, make sure you subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell. By doing so, you won't miss any updates, behind-the-scenes content, and exclusive insights into the Sixers' journey to the top. Together, let's witness history in the making and cheer our team to victory. Trust the process and believe in the promise of what's to come. Go Sixers!